Cool. So welcome everybody to TNG Online Connect. So obviously our purpose is to widen your scope beyond your local group. So got a few people here on board today, and obviously getting in guest speakers, building up an education base, and really just growing all of our businesses together. So talking about businesses, so we've got Katie Rickson, who is a copywriter, and she's going to be sharing it's such an integral part of your marketing is how you describe yourself. And as a designer, like words, like design is a visualization of words. So with your brand, words, copywriting plays such an important role. So really excited to hear what Katie has to share with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, I am Katie Rickson. I'm a copywriter, editor, and lived experience speaker. So yeah, I do copyright, but today I'm going to share more about my other business called Compassion Poetry and some mental health awareness and some mental health strategies and tips. I thought I would begin with one of my poems. It's called Tapestry. We get together to weave threads into a tapestry. It's all about relationships and finding intimacy, finding the boundaries and then relaxing so that you have someone holding the line when you are collapsing. Unearth the trauma and start talking. It's more than medical. It includes beach walking. It's hard to represent someone, let alone all. We all have our voice and experience unique falls. But recovery is collective. It's about finding roots, reconnecting with whenua and belonging in groups. Sometimes language is everything, but let's be pragmatic. Without training and changing attitudes, stereotyping is automatic. It's about bonding, bridging, and working together, and acknowledging our distress won't last forever. Ultimately, it's about hope and striving to make things new, and knowing that trials make us human. We are many, not few. So who am I? I am a mum to a 6-year-old. And an auntie to 2 nephews and 4 nieces. So my daughter's the one in the blue Helensville top, and there's 2 of my nieces. I'm married to Mike, who is a software developer. I'm a writer, editor, and speaker. I'm also trained in theatre and have a writing degree. So today I want to talk about my business, Compassion Poetry, and some strategies to help with your mental health. So after my daughter was born, I was diagnosed with bipolar, and a few months on from that, or maybe a year or so, I realized the power of stories and the power of sharing my knowledge and my experience. So I'm a lived experience speaker of bipolar. I'm a mental health advocate. I've been a podcast guest on several podcasts, and I can facilitate workshops and webinars. So today I'm going to share about self-compassion and mindfulness, models of wellness, modifying and reframing success and consistency, how to use your senses to moderate your mood, the one thing and the Pomodoro technique, protecting your energy and perhaps a controversial tip, and creativity. So first of all, let's talk about compassion. Self-compassion. It's really important. It's different to self-love in the way that you meet yourself where you're at. It's about being aware of that annoying, pesky voice in your head, your inner critic, and acknowledging that you might be going through a hard time, being kind to yourself. And it's really important to try and accept and acknowledge your feelings and avoid getting sad about being sad or anxious about being anxious. So some unhelpful thought patterns that you can try and change by using self-compassion. So you might be selective thinking. Our brain has a tendency to dwell on the negatives. We have a negative bias, and a way that you can kind of manage that is through gratitude. So having a daily gratitude practice by writing down 3 things each day that you're grateful for, and they can be as big or as small as you like. Another one is about being a cynic. Perhaps people give you praise about your work and tell you how much they enjoyed working with you, but you say, it was nothing, or everybody does it, it's not a big deal. But it's really important to acknowledge your achievements and accept those praise. Another unhelpful thought patterns is mistaking your feelings as facts. So instead, look at the evidence, ask for others' insights. So if you're feeling depressed or anxious, it might be clouding your judgment, or you might be thinking that you're worse than you actually are. Or you're not looking at yourself from a balanced point of view. So look for the evidence and ask for other people's opinions and insights. Other types of unhelpful thought patterns are catastrophizing, jumping straight to the worst case scenario, and crystal ball gazing, where you predict that something bad is going to happen in the future. This is a really cool book that I've really enjoyed. It's been really helpful. It's Self-Compassion, the Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself by Kristin Neff. And this is a mantra from the book, which I find really helpful. This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. So first of all, you're acknowledging that you're going through a hard time. You're validating it. You're acknowledging that suffering is part of the human experience. Everybody goes through hard times. May I be kind to myself in this moment. So you're giving yourself that love and that kindness. And may I give myself the compassion I need. So looking for that action that you can take after you've acknowledged and validated what you're going through. Now I wanted to talk about mindfulness. So this is a helpful phrase to kind of have as a mantra: thoughts are sentences, feelings are sensations. So mindfulness is all about observing and focusing your awareness on what's going on right now, not what's happened in the past, not what might happen in the future, but what's going on right now. And calmly, kindly, and non-judgmentally acknowledging and accepting your feelings, thoughts, and sensations in your body. You can liken it to watching cars go past on a highway. That's another thought going past. That's another thought going past. And you're not trying to jump on each car and ride with it, but you're just seeing them go past. What can you hear? What can you see? What can you smell? So the 5 things, if you can look for those things that will bring you back into your body and away from your kind of harmful thoughts, and seeing thoughts as passing and not trying to argue with them. And you can use apps like Headspace or Insight Timer, or going on more intensive courses. So there's a course that you can do called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. It's an 8-week course. I know that people have used it across a variety of different industries and sectors, including nurses and doctors, and it's proven, it's evidence-based, and it's proven to reduce your feelings of stress and anxiety. Now I want to talk about the wellness wheel, and it's really cool and important to look at your health as a whole. And at the start of the year, you might want to rate each segment of the wheel out of 10. So what's your money situation looking like? How financially healthy are you? What's your spiritual health like? That doesn't have to be religious. It could be journaling or meditation. What's that like? What's your emotional health like? Have you been crying more lately? Have you find yourself snapping more? Or are you actually feeling really kind of positive? And rate that out of 10. Your intellectual health, are you learning something new every day? Are you making time to read and maybe do a course and upskill? Your physical health, are you getting the right exercise? I'm finding that in spring it's so much easier now to go out for a walk. Are you taking yourself out for walks? What's your social health like? Are you catching up with your friends? Are you doing your hobbies? Have you got a life outside of work? Environmental health. What's your environment like? Is it tidy and uncluttered? Are you doing stuff to kind of help the planet? So at the start of each year or each quarter, rate yourself out of 10, and then think of different strategies that you can use to bump up your scores. Here's the Māori model of health, Te Whare Tapawha. You've got Taha Tinana, which is your physical health, Taha Wairua, which is your spiritual health, Taha Whānau, which is your family and relational health, and Taha Hinanaro, which is your mental and emotional health. So what are the each wall holds up the whare. So if one wall's kind of skeweth, it affects the rest of you. So it's really important to look at those different walls as a whole, and focus on each areas of your health. What I've learned with running my copywriting business and my in compassion poetry is it's really important for me to reframe success. If it costs you your mental health, it's too expensive. There's another phrase, if the ladder, there's no use climbing the ladder if it's leaning against the wrong wall. So what beliefs or practices have you adopted that aren't aligned with your values? Stop shooting yourself. I should be posting right now. I should be going to 5 networking meetings a month. It can lead to procrastination and overwhelm. You can reframe that by saying, oh, I get to go to all of these networking meetings. I get to meet really cool people. I get to promote my business, which I really care about. So just changing that word from should to you get to, and define your own measures of success that are sustainable. You get to choose your key performance indicators. You get to choose how you're going to show up and how often you get to show up. And I want to talk about a term called cognitive dissonance, which describes a condition of stress or a feeling of internal discomfort caused by conflicting ideas, values, beliefs, or practices. Essentially, this is a situation where 2 or more opposing thoughts are causing psychological discomfort. So what are you doing in your business and in your life that is causing you to feel really uncomfortable because it doesn't align with what you believe to be true? Cognitive dissonance can be a really horrible feeling, can make you feel quite sick. I also want to talk about reframing consistency. So are you placing undue pressure on yourself to post every day, grow consistently by a certain amount, or reach a goal at the expense of your health and relationships? So as a person that's self-employed, you get to set the metrics and the pace. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So slowly and strongly is a legit business trajectory. Somebody told me that building a business is like the bricks. You build it brick by brick and you're laying the foundations, and it's not a race. Now I want to talk about sensory modulation, which is a fancy way of saying using our senses to moderate or adjust our feelings. So you can either use it to wake yourself up, to refresh yourself, to invigorate yourself, or you can use it to calm yourself down if you're feeling particularly stressed or anxious or overwhelmed. So think music, perfumes, food, having a nice bath or shower. You can have a cold shower to wake you up, hand cream, eating citrus fruit, maybe even sucking on a lemon. Are you feeling overstimulated or are you feeling tired? In what ways can you change your environment? Could you maybe go down to the beach and bring your laptop and do some work at the beach? Can you go to a cafe? Just because you're working from home doesn't mean you need to work from home every day. It's a good idea to think about hot desking and getting out and about so that you're not feeling isolated and lonely. Now, this is another strategy that's been really helpful for me, for my mental health, is focusing on the one thing. So start by brain dumping everything that's on your mind. Identify which tasks are the most important. You can use a variety of different things to identify which ones are the most important. One is the Eisenhower matrix, where you've got the 4 quadrants: important, urgent, important, not urgent, and not important, not urgent, and the other one I can't remember. And then your top task becomes your one thing. So you can have a one thing for your day, for your week, for your month, and your quarter. I write down a one thing for my day and my week, and it really helps me focus and reduce overwhelm. I give myself a little financial reward after I've achieved my one thing. And yeah, I want to achieve that one thing each week. Everything else becomes a bonus. Here's another technique to help with overwhelm and overcome procrastination. So it's called the Pomodoro technique. This is a technique that helps you get in the flow if you've been procrastinating. So you work uninterrupted for 25 to 30 minutes. Put your phone on flight mode if you can. After that concentrated period of time, take a break for 5 minutes and then repeat that. So you do it 4 times. And then after the 4th time, you could take a break for 15 minutes. And I know we're kind of taught to eat the frog, to do the most challenging thing first, the thing that we don't want to do. But you don't always have to do the hard task first. If you're finding yourself in a mental health rut, if you're finding things a bit more challenging than normal, identify where you can get a quick win, so at least you can get started and build your confidence. Another thing is about protecting your energy and knowing when you have the most energy. The great thing about working from home is you can work at the time where your energy is the highest. I find that my best day for big projects is Tuesday, and my most productive time is between 9:30 and 2 p.m. I do my best to protect those times for writing work. So that's when I do my copywriting, that's when I write my blogs and my case studies, and I really can get into the flow during that time. You might be an evening person, or you might be early morning. So being aware of when your energy is the highest and doing the highest, the tasks that require the most energy and focus. And so making sure that you do emails and other things outside of those times wherever possible. This might be a bit controversial, but it works for me. We're told that it's important to like work in your zone of genius, and to delegate most of your repetitive, mundane tasks if you can. But I say hold back some of them, because there are times when your energy might not be might not be very high, but you still want to feel like you're doing something productive to move your business forward. So there are times when I want to do coding in Zero, because that high focus work, like writing, takes a lot of energy. So something repetitive, something where there's only one right answer, gives your brain a break, and you're still doing something for your business. When I want to self-destruct, I create. So I found that during the lockdowns, I could easily just gone into self-destruct mode, self-sabotage mode, but I turned to creating stuff. I turned to writing poetry and baking and just making something productive and beautiful out of a really tough or stressful situation. When you create, you're diverting your energy, that nervous energy, into something positive. Find an art form that works for you. There's a quote that says, practice any art, no matter how well or badly, not because of the outcome, but it's the process of becoming. So yeah, it's not about the outcome. It's not about creating something that's beautifully polished and perfect. It's about the process. And perhaps try journaling, where you're free writing and getting all of those thoughts out of your head. Here are some other strategies. If you notice your mental health is suffering a bit, eat your lunch mindfully and away from your desk. Is there a sunny spot that you can take your lunch? Do one thing at a time. Say no to overcommitting yourself. Gratitude journaling. Do 3 things you're grateful for every day. A done list. So instead of fretting about the things that are still on your to-do list, write down at the end of each day what you did accomplish. And you could also do a reverse bucket list. So we sometimes think that by a certain time in our lives, certain time in our businesses, that we should be at a certain point, but a reverse bucket list looks back at your life and you can see all the things that you did achieve. Dopamine dressing. So that's when you wear something that makes you feel good, wearing bright colors, wearing bright accessories. Improve your diet, avoid or limit caffeine, sugar, and heavily salted food. You may want to stop eating at a certain time and then do intermittent fasting. So, for example, I stop eating at 6 and I start eating at 9 o'clock, and I find that's really helped my energy and my mental health. Stop and analyze a situation before making a decision. So perhaps you get an email from a client or supplier or something which isn't what you expect or what you want. By all means, open up your draft emails and let it all out, but don't click send. Try and see if you can sleep on it before making a decision or before reacting. And download the Headspace app. There's also the Insight Timer app. They've got guided meditations and help you with mindfulness. Or if you have got time and you want to get serious about mindfulness, you can take an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction course. So now I want to speak more specifically to compassion poetry and what I do. So I can talk to organizations about my experience of bipolar, what bipolar looks like, what the triggers are, and how to support people through that diagnosis and in their recovery. So is your organization or organization serious about taking care of the mental health of your staff? Would you like someone with the real experience of bipolar to come in and help raise awareness of what it's like to live and even thrive with a serious mental illness? And would you like to discover ways you can better support your staff who have been recently diagnosed? So yesterday I did a 10-minute talk and somebody asked me, what is bipolar? And it's also known as manic depression. And it's when you experience moments of extreme highs where you find it hard to sleep, your thoughts are racing, you might have an elevated sense of what you can achieve, and then these really deep lows. And you can go for periods of time where you don't have any of those episodes, or when you're in it, you can kind of switch between mania and depression in the space of a day. Here are some of the places where I've shared my story. So this year, I'm really proud that I was invited to speak at Move Talks as part of a panel celebrating neurodiversity. I've spoken on the One Up project, which is a popular financial literacy and self-development podcast. The Tough Mothers podcast, where I talked about my experience of mental health and becoming a mum. And Presbyterian Support Northern, which are the umbrella organisation for Shine and Lifeline. I've been a guest lecturer at Victoria University of Wellington since 2018, coming back every year since then, and Poetry Snaps, which is a podcast about poetry. And we talked about my mental health and all kinds of things. Finally, I wanted to share with you my first workshop, which is coming up during Mental Health Awareness Week. It's a 4-hour workshop about how to start and sustain a business with bipolar. It's at Te Manawa Library in Westgate, and we'll talk about how self-employment can be right for you, how to create the environment, network and structures to support your mental health and generate a living, and we'll make the start of a business plan, so the next best steps to get started. If you would like some more information, please let me know in the chat, or you can email me at hello@compassionpoetry.co.nz. Follow me on Instagram at compassion.poetry. or you can find me on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for listening today, and please do let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, I would love to have a chat more. So thank you so much for listening this morning.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Katie. That was great. Definitely lot to take away with our busy business lives. Take some time off themselves and do some reflection, sure. Do any of you ladies have any questions for Katie or comments? And Ron, you just muted.
I'm having my morning tea. Well done, Katie. You're an absolute bloody inspiration. And as I said to you yesterday at our team meeting, you manage your health really well. So what you are practicing everything that you have spoken about. And you're absolutely extraordinary young woman. And thank you for being a stand for making a difference to people out there in society that really are challenged through bipolar and mental health issues.
Thank you. Thank you.
Katie, it's quite timely you said about art as mindfulness, because my mother, bless her, she's 87 and she's been my greatest support network. But this week she gave me one of those books that you colour in, you know, so it's got really pretty pictures in it. And I was like, oh, this is absolutely beautiful. And so maybe that's going to help me with my mindfulness. And maybe she thought maybe I needed that. So yeah, really very cool to hear you say that.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a colouring book that I sometimes go to when I'm feeling a bit stressed, because yeah, it just that repetitive motion of colouring in, you can just zone out and just
complete escapism.
Yeah.
Never thought of it like that, but it's makes perfect sense. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like your idea of a reverse bucket list. It's really useful to be able to periodically look at what your achievements have been, either for the quarter or for the year, and say, hey, well, this is where I was last year. Look how far I've come. And just congratulate yourself on what you have achieved.
Definitely. And some of the intangible things as well, like how you might have responded to a situation a year ago and how you respond to it now. And you can see the growth in your mindset. And
How do you manage your time throughout the day? Is it like do you have a little timer for every half an hour, take a 5-minute break, or?
Yeah, so I generally use the timer on my computer. Yeah. But sometimes I go beyond the half hour and I just find that, like, 2 hours have gone and I'm still going away, but it's a really good way to just get into it. Yeah, especially on projects that feel quite big. Yeah, breaking it down into chunks and trying to say, well, this chunk I'm going to focus on this chunk I'm going to focus on that. Yeah.
It's definitely like that time management and kind of making time for those breaks to help focus, because I think that's definitely something. Like procrastination is a big thing.
Yeah.
So trying to zone back in and really focus is so important. Definitely something like a takeaway. Cool. How often do you run your the seminars or the workshops?
Generally, I just as and when organizations need them. Like the workshop this year is my first one, and so because I'm building both of the businesses together, it's kind of slow and steady at the moment. But yeah, I'd like to be able to spend more time doing trainings next year, and I've approached a few corporates. I'd like to be able to speak to more people that are in that corporate situation and help them. Yeah, because I worked at a corporate, and I had a really serious episode when I was there, and they didn't really know how to support me, and I didn't really know how to support myself. So I'd like to be able to kind of speak to that.
Katie, I'll send you the link, the download link for this presentation that you've done today, and hopefully you can use parts of it to, you know, on your LinkedIn and your Facebook to promote your seminar and to promote what you do in corporates, because that's what this is all about. And hopefully it's given you some good material that you can use. And we will certainly promote you as well across all of the wider TNG network, because again, it's a great way for us to support you out there and the great things you're doing. And as we always say, it's all about, it's not who we know, it's about who you know, and so on and so forth. So hopefully we can help to get your message out.
Thank you.
What were those books that you that dealt on the topic that you recommended?
Kristin Neff, Self-Compassion, the Power of Being Kind to Yourself. I think that was the book. Was there another one?
I mean, if you have any recommendations,
Yeah.
it's always good to put out there. We can email as well. So people do help deeper and get in touch with you as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome to hear the other side of you, Katie, because I know about the copywriting side, but the poetry writing side, it's definitely different aspects. So that's really cool. So thanks for sharing that. Any questions from the group before we? Awesome. Well, Michelle, were you going to say something? Like lean forward.
Oh no, it was just great. I second what Anne said, that they take some time to do a done list, because it's so easy to just keep going and yeah, especially if things don't go the way you planned, we can just not acknowledge what we have done. So I think that's really powerful. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. What we'll do, thanks, Katie. What we'll do is just do a quick wrap around the room and just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do, and then maybe something that you can take away to have more mindfulness in your own day. So, Michelle, you unmuted, so I'll let you go first.
Awesome. Well, I'm Michelle Keating. I represent growing organisations. So we help business owners grow themselves and their teams and their business results through our one-on-one and group coaching programs. And I'm part of the Hibiscus Coast at Noon TNG group, which meets Thursdays at midday, which is I'm also a mum of a young daughter, so that's much more civilized time for me. And yeah, I loved the done list, Katie. I think that's something that jumped out at me today. So yeah, I always love there's always something you take away from coming to one of these things. So thanks very much for putting them on. It's really great to attend one.
Cool. Thanks, Michelle. Anne.
Hi, so I think I know everybody here. It's just great. But I'm a business consultant with Auction8 Consulting. So we work with small and medium-sized businesses and help them to grow better businesses. So it's helping to identify where they're heading and where they want to be in 5 years' time, and helping them to determine the steps they need to take to get there, and building that plan, understanding their customers, understanding their competitive advantage, etc. And then getting stuck in and helping to actually get those jobs done that need to be done to actually help them achieve that plan. So it's working with them in the long term to help with those projects and to fill those knowledge gaps, and really help them understand the things that they don't know that they don't know. That seem obvious to people that are in business every day, but you're busy working in the business and need to step back and work on the business, which I help them do every time I see them. So it's helping to build better businesses. And from today, it's my biggest thing is hushing the inner critic. I'm very critical of myself. I'm a perfectionist. So it's being able to tackle those things every day to work on my own well-being. So thanks, Katie.
Melanie.
Thank you. Well, everybody hopefully knows me. I'm Melanie from the networking group. And what I want to share today, if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a moment to share the fact that TNG is turning 10 and that we're really, really excited to be hosting a large face-to-face networking event. After a couple of years with not having anything of this size. And the good news is we've still got 50 tickets left. So we've got a fantastic number of people already coming. We have the amazing Alison Mooney as our keynote speaker. She's the people interpreter and she's really entertaining. So please, what I would really appreciate is if you can share at your groups and also amongst your networks. Anyone who hasn't registered yet, please get in and register. And we really, really look forward to seeing you on the 27th of September. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Melanie. So there's me. I'm Dan. So I run Ingot, which is a digital design studio. So generally where we're working is with businesses who have large complex websites and they needed to integrate with a bunch of different third-party systems that we use, kind of bringing everything together into one ecosystem that's easy to manage and obviously looks great as well. So commonly we're working with businesses kind of been in business for a while and just get to scale up, starting to bring in CRMs, all the complex stuff that comes with businesses that are growing. So and definitely, Katie, thanks for today. Probably will be going away and looking at some timers so I can start timing my day and start working, getting a bit more productivity. Those kind of short bursts of concentration and then breaking it up. Otherwise, you just look at your, 50 emails in your inbox and you're like, oh my goodness, where do we start? So. Talking about Katie. Katie, do you have any last words to share?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on as the 30-minute presenter today. There was one thing that I forgot to share was having a folder of the compliments and praise, so that when your inner critic is really loud, you can go back and say, well, no, that's not true because these people said this, this, and this. So yeah, I just really want to encourage you to share my workshop if that feels right for you, for people that might benefit from it. We never know what other people are going through, and I just think being in business is such a positive experience, if you've got, for everyone and for people that have mental health conditions. Because yeah, you can design your life the way that you want it. So yeah, that's me. I said most of the things in my 30 minutes. So yeah, thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, we'll head off into the weekend. Hopefully it's a sunny one. Definitely to promote the workshops as well. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending, and we'll be back in a fortnight. Some cool guest speakers lined up. So thank you once again. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Have a lovely weekend.
Lovely to see you. Yeah, thanks for being here. Bye.